right. Are we live? Yes, we are. So I went over the Model O yesterday. I did an unboxing. Yeah. Did an unboxing with it and I did my first impressions on it. I played for a little while, played for a couple hours. And then I came back and kind of just did a review roundup, whatever you want to call it. But I had a lot of fun doing it, so I'm gonna do it again today and just give my 24-hour thoughts and what I think. There was a couple of things, well, not a couple of things. Things like the way the mouse felt had me slightly worried, just because I have a bigger hand. I'm used to a bigger shape and stuff, not because of anything wrong with the mouse. But just in case anybody's still, I need to move that. Just in case anybody's still on the fence about it or isn't sure. There's reviews and stuff, of course, all over the place, but sometimes a little more of a informal look at it or something. I wish I could get it better. I need to figure out where that light's reflecting from. Is it coming from there? Maybe I shut off the RGB because I don't know. It looks bad to me, but it could be the way my monitor is angled. I'll have to look into that. No, I guess it looks fine. It's just the way the angle is. I guess I don't really need it, but super duper happy with it. I did go around and fiddle with the setting. I changed the color. I ended up sticking with the white. Might go back to the RGB. I'm not a huge fan of the RGB, but just because it's a new mouse, the RGB is done pretty well on the mouse. So we'll see. I did notice. Well, yeah, I do have it, but on the I had brought up the fact that you can't change the zones of the mouse in regards to the RGB. So like for example, you can't have like a half of the side pink and blue, or more specifically, you can't change the side of the mouse and have it be a different color from the scroll wheel, which there's a couple of devices out there that do zone uh, lighting. The Razer Mamba comes to mind. Also on keyboards, you can change individual keys. And I had mentioned how the mouse I was using prior to that, the Fanatic Flick, if you look at the promotional images for it, it shows the color of the scroll wheel and the color of the logo as different. I got real excited when I saw that in the promotional stuff, but got kind of bummed when I realized you couldn't do it within software. So like this is a good example. This isn't. I don't know what this is, if this is official or not, but um, I mean, small thing, but I just found it interesting. And then when I was looking at pictures of, or not pictures, but um, like promotional images and stuff for the Model O, they did the exact same thing. I don't know. It's not on the box. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now. Oh, there's one. This is the image that I'm talking about. That purple with the green is what I originally saw when I first found out about this mouse. Um, and just thought that was interesting. But when you look at the Model O stuff, and actually, did they alter the? No, maybe not. I mean, I guess it's not really, but because they're obviously signifying the RGB, but and they're showing the red. It just kind of is kind of a not false advertising, but and that's not to say that they might not eventually add that, which I think would be cool. And I remember seeing the red scroll wheel and thinking it was just a solid red, which I thought might be cool if you had like the RGB turned off, like not that the scroll wheel wasn't illuminated; it was just like a red plastic. I think that's the image I'm referring to. I actually noticed it in the software because there's a little icon that pops up on your desktop. Um, and because it makes sense because if you look at like the keyboard that they ship out, if you order their keycaps, it's got a red ascend button as the escape key. Um, so it kind of makes sense a little bit, but um, I just thought that was interesting that seems to be something that other companies do as well. And we'll see. Who knows? I know my Fanatic as of right now doesn't have it. Um, Maybe we'll see Glorious come up uh, with it in the future. I went over the software a little bit. I mean, a lot of people, you either love software or you hate it. When it comes to the software, you can store one profile on there, which usually is fine for me. It's more than enough, and you can uninstall it at that point. Export, import. Um, as far as anybody knows, we haven't figured out if there's a way to, or if you store more than one profile, if it's just the one on the mouse. But again, I mean, to me, that's fine. That's better than some. I mean, things like the Razer Death Adder, which you can save the profile, but if you're not aware, it's got a DPI down and up button, and if you accidentally press that, it reverts to the standard or the stock DPI settings, which I think is kind of bogus. Um, so for this, let's see. I mean, I kept this setting stock, but I want to see if the colors. Let's see how that looks. It's the gray. Yeah, I guess it's kind of well, whatever. Does it show you? Oh yeah, it does show you which one you're on. Um, that's yeah. But I mean, save one profile. You still be. I'm assuming you'd still be able to change the or alter the DPI steps and have that stick with the mouse. And I mean, if you really need to be switch it, I know some people like to have. I used to like to have certain profiles to dictate what DPI I was using. So like on my Fanatic, I would have different colors or just different modes like fade or rain or whatever. But you don't need to do that because it's got the DPI button or indicator on the bottom, so you don't need to do that. I can't imagine people. I get people like to change their profiles and they've got specific lighting setups, but I had not. It's not like this mouse is fully integrated with like any kind of IQ or Razer Synapse where you can link your keyboard and blah 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 blah. So if you're really going that far and you need that much, and you're disappointed that it doesn't have it, you're kind of barking up the wrong tree. But yeah, since it's been 24 hours, I wanted to go. I had mentioned last night and everything too that I was worried about the size that the Fanatic Flick that I was using. When I compared the measurements, the Model O is a tiny bit smaller, but I always felt like the Fanatic was kind of like the bare minimum on how small I could go. I had used, or well, not used, but the Fry's near my house had a Zoe display for quite a while, and they had. I don't think they had all of them. They might have. And I just remember back when I was hearing, all this love about Zoe Zoe mice that I got intrigued and I was kind of trying them out. And I thought I remember trying the FK1 and really not liking it, but then I realized I think it's the FK2, and I think that one's smaller than the FK1 and the One Plus. The FK1 Plus I actually really liked. And doing some comparisons between the Model O, the FK1, and the FK1 Plus, at least measurement-wise, kind of relieved my anxiety a little bit. And then when I got it, I was like, okay, like, but I'm getting used to it more and more now, and I mean I do enjoy it. The weight and stuff is amazing on it. So I'd suggest, and I've looked into like reviewers and stuff, and watched plenty of videos about it, and a lot of the reviewers have the same hand size, or roughly the same hand size I do, within a couple of centimeters. So I was surprised to see that those videos got released on Saturday, and then my mouse showed up on Monday. So I had those couple of days to kind of worry and debate on whether or not this was going to fit me, or fit my hand. It was weird. It was weird for me to get used to, but that's only because of the shape. But now that I'm getting used to it, I am finding it more and more and more comfortable. The last real experience I had with a smaller mouse was the G502, the Logitech G502, and that one kept slipping out of my hand, and that's why I've always been hesitant to buy a smaller mouse, even though most people say, oh, the smallest you can go, the smallest you can go. After that, I tried the Death Adder. I was not a fan. I felt like I was a fan of it, but the Death Adder ended up being just like a bit too big. And then I found the Fanatic 2, and that was actually perfect. But now, so now that I'm getting, a little more used to the size, I do find myself, I also had seen a couple of videos where people said palm grip is not really the way to go with this mouse. And I mean, I kind of agree a little bit, and that obviously worried me because I do palm grip. But I've realized I kind of fade in and out between a straight palm grip and almost like a hybrid finger or claw palm grip. And see, I got my pinky back here clawing it, and like this, I always felt kind of weird because the pinky dragging, but I kind of get used to it now. And then especially on this mouse, I've gotten pretty comfortable with palming it. I mean, there's not as much hump support, right in this area, but I mean, it's fine. I think I like it better claw grip because it allows me to kind of do that, but which helps me micro adjust my aim, and it helps with micro adjustments when I'm wrist aiming. So I'm happy that I'm getting used to the shape a lot quicker and a lot easier than I thought it would. I noticed with the Razer Death Adder, the Fanatic, it was pretty quick, so I really enjoyed that shape pretty quickly. I got used to it pretty easily. But something like the Razer Death Adder, it took me a while, and I'm realizing now, or figuring out now, that that's because it's just not, it's too big of a shape or whatever. But I guess I don't know, I wanted to like it or something, I don't know, so I kept trying. So thankfully I'm pleasantly, I'm happy that I'm getting used to it quicker than I thought I would. I went with the white. I don't know, I settled on the white. I stay away from RGB as much as I can. I did keep it on for a little while. My setup is an all white. It's got RGB fans, but I just it's a white case, so I just have a white light. It's got a RGB case, RGB fans in there, but just stick with white. If I ever decide I don't have them plugged into they're all Corsair fans, and they're not plugged into a lighting commander, but one day I'll eventually do that and maybe link my stuff up, although keyboard and mouse won't match, but whatever. But I was messing around just with the colors and everything, and I did like the way the light looked. If you look at the, maybe I should do it in this camera. This was mentioned in Bad Seed Tech's review, where at the bottom you can kind of like I don't know what you would call that, but the LEDs kind of diffuse and it bounces colors off. So it like in my case with the white, one side's like a bit teal and one side's like a bit greenish. But that does, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I kind of like it. In fact, I mean, the way it reflects off. I haven't looked at it in the dark yet, but it does pretty neat. In fact, what's the brightness? Brightness is at 100%. Let's see if single color, breathing single color. I mean, maybe the red looks kind of neat in there. Let's try pink just to see. Looks pretty good. Camera doesn't do it justice, especially that one. I need to get a better mouse cam. That's a lot better. I should try this without a mouse bungee. I mean, I've never been a fan of cycles like that. It looks kind of cheap to me, but you know, I've got to use it, so you know, whatever. I mean, just the what they call the glorious mode looks amazing. I think it looks pretty good in terms of RGB. And I'm interested to see how it looks reflecting off. I know that a lot of people say the white version reflects the RGB off the inside a lot more. I wonder if the glossy glossy versions of the mouse might affect that at all. I guess only time will tell. Let's speed this thing up. Ooh, it's going real fast now. Still don't think I keep it. I mean, it's cool that I feel like it's cool they added RGB, I guess, but I can't imagine that many people were asking for it. I mean, we know that Glorious was really focusing on speaking to gamers about what they wanted in a mouse, and it's obviously evident. But like, I'm surprised RGB popped up, especially with mice like Final Mouse, Zowie, those things. It's a leg up, obviously, on something like Final Mouse to a certain degree, but they could have gotten the mouse lighter. Like, I wonder what the trade-off is. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind, like, maybe, you know, a light or something in the scroll wheel. But, like, I wonder if, you know, taking the strips out would have affected the weight that much. Maybe not. Maybe they realized that, okay, if it's within a gram or something, I don't know. They decided that it was worth it to put the RGB in as a selling point. But who knows? Couple other things like the cord, still not, you know, thrilled with it. Again, there's a reason it's so that it can be nice and flexible, but mine still, it's got like this shoelace thing going on here, which, I mean, it's fine, it works fine. I don't like that you can't put it in a bungee, or you got to kind of mash it in, and you know, it is super flexible, but it's hard to see on the black. But I mean, it's still nice, but I mean, paracording is always an option, which, you know, a lot of people do anyway. It doesn't matter how good the cabling is. Just for it to match, and I might do that. You can pick feet up for pretty cheap, a few bucks, on Glorious's website. So I might eventually paracord it just to fit the theme more. Eventually paracording, you know, getting a paracorded cable for my keyboard, and to just go with a more consistent theme for my desk. I just haven't done it. It's not like a high priority, so when I do that, I'll eventually Probably upgrade the cable on this one. Not to mention, like, if they were to do a straight paracord, it'd probably jack the price up. And I think that, they were trying to um, meet that $50 price point with doing, as much as they could for the cable, which, can't blame them. The one thing I've noticed now, after I had stopped playing and then got back on yesterday, was the clicks. I really like the clicks. They're nice and bouncy, and they're stiff without being too stiff. I know they didn't use the 25, or they didn't use the 50-gram switches in the left and right click, but what are you gonna do? I think it's great. I think it's real reactive, and I like it better than I've noticed that I like it better than my Fanatic. It was just like kind of right off the bat when I picked it up today. I was like, oh yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else that surprised me. I did change. I know this debounce time thing was coming up too. That it was too high for some people. I did drop mine down to 6 seconds or 6 milliseconds, and I haven't noticed any accidental double clicks. I guess you guys can't see this anyway. Or misfires or anything like that. I might try dropping it down to 4, just to see what happens. But other than that, man, I'm super happy. If you guys haven't picked this mouse up, especially if you are an FK1 user, I'm assuming, but between what I've been told and what I remember and all those things, if you're a Fanatic Flick user and you can stand going a little bit smaller, I mean, if you feel like a Death Adder is, not like on the bigger side for you, or the EC2B. I've never messed around with an EC2B, so I can't, shouldn't comment on something like that. But if you don't and you're not sure, I think one thing that I would probably recommend is checking out Fry's. If you got a Fry's in your area, see if they have. They're known to carry Zowie mice. I don't know if Micro Centers do. I don't think they do. Speaking of which, I know Micro Center is carrying Glorious products. I don't know if they have any Model O's in stock. I don't know any of that information. The one by me near Chicago, both that are in the Chicago area, didn't have any Glorious stuff when I went there last week. But I think they're based out of like Columbus or something. I know that one. It's either Columbus or Cleveland. But anyway, back to what I was originally saying. If you can pick up an FK1 or see an FK1 or whatever, and just get in your hand if you like the feel of it, then definitely go. I'm gonna recommend. I mean, I have been even before I had it in my hands, anything. Just because I really like to support what Glorious is doing. I think it's phenomenal. I mean, it never has there been such a it's like so obvious, right? Like, go to the people that you're making the thing for. Ask them what they want and make it. Like, that's it. Like, Logitech, I mean, give kudos to Logitech. They've always been in the game. I mean, since whatever that was, the 518 or whatever it used to be called. They've been in the mouse game forever, and they have a pretty good grasp on what gamers want. Razer, I was always a big fan especially early on, not so much these days, but I was always a big fan of Razer's products. The Razer Boomslang was the first gaming mouse I ever had. I was a big fan of that thing. I picked up the Razer Copperhead not long after that. I never did get the Mamba, the original Mamba was never my deal. It was just way too expensive. I think at some point it was like $200, but I can't remember. I used the Naga for a while for World of Warcraft, but I mean, as time goes on, I mean, I don't know if they make okay products. I still use an updated Naga for WoW when I do play WoW. And I did pick up the Death Eater, and I do more or less like it, but I hear far too much about their devices breaking and things. I mean, not to mention Synapse, like you pay a high premium for something like Razer, and I don't feel like you're getting what you should be um, what you're paying for. It's something like the Death Adder Elite doesn't even have onboard memory. It's like I mean even like $40 or $50 whatever it was. Logitech might have that type of feature. So um, I've steered away from them in the past. Obviously, Zowie's doing a phenomenal job. Um, but I mean, there's a lot out there that is junk. I probably mention any names because it's not a good idea. But there's just a lot of junk out there, and I get people are into what they're into, and there's certain things and whatever. But you've seen a lot of like complete 180s where like somebody makes something real good, and then all of a sudden, but um, really enjoy what they're doing. I look forward to. So the theory is, and I don't know, I haven't confirmed this or even know, but I was watching the Bad Seed Tech video. I remember a while back, and if you have been paying attention to them for a while, you remember them announcing Odin, which, from what I've been told, is the Odin line. It's referencing to their line of mice, which actually I want to look that up. And the Model O isn't the Odin. The Model O is the first in the line. The O, the first letter. So it's possible it's possible we'll get four other models. I don't know. I guess we got to wait and see what happens. I look forward to it. I'll be picking up. I hear a lot of good things about their mats. I've been meaning to pick one up. I just want to pick up the mat, the keyboard. Altogether, I'm that type of person that has to have everything uniform. I just haven't yet, just because I obviously wanted to check the mouse out first and see how that was. But before I jumped in, I like their compact keyboard, which I probably would have bought anyway. Probably their mouse mat. I hear nothing but good things about their mouse mat. I've got a Fanatic mouse mat, extended large mouse mat that I enjoy. It's just not. It doesn't have stitched edges, which I think is kind of I mean that's something like the only thing like one of the major things people commend mouse mats for that have the stitched edging is the stitch edging. Like, how can you not put that on your mouse mat these days? I know there's a few. Logitech I know has one that's not, but like that just seems like a no-brainer. But whatever. I wanted to start doing start the stream this way. I'm gonna play some Apex here in a minute. But I wanted to upload a little bit of this to YouTube, so I wanted to get this out of the way. I didn't get a chance to upload anything to YouTube yesterday, so I just wanted to get this recorded so that I could put it up on YouTube here today. So let's see, Glorious Odin. Let's see if there's any. Odin is coming. So yeah. Oh, see, I keep forgetting. Yeah, see how it's got the ODIN? Hmm. So that's interesting. Looking forward to the rest of the stuff they do. Maybe I'll reach out to them, see if I can't get them to buddy, bring it up. Let's see if I know the map black was sold out. Let's see, back order, white back order, glossy black still there, glossy white. I mean, no, I've heard people prefer the mattes, but I'm actually probably gonna pick up a glossy. I might pick up both. I might just pick up one. I am definitely gonna pick up a white one just to have it, but definitely for uh, back stock for myself because who knows. Um, but I might pick up a glossy one just to see how it goes. Did I want to do? Um, there was one thing I wanted to look at. Oh, the mouse bungee. I might pick up their mouse bungee. I feel like it would be different. Again, just uniform stuff. Interesting. That doesn't look like their cable, but maybe it is. And I have at the moment. I've got the Razer mouse bungee, which I'm not a fan of. I just don't like. It performs fine. I just don't like the look of it. Um, this one, does it adjust? Adjustable arm that allows you to, yeah. So it basically looks like, I mean, it's got the look of the whatever, the Zowie Kamade. And I know there's a ton of Kamade knockoffs or whatever that you can buy for fairly cheap. But I mean, what is it? I mean, 15 bucks. I mean, most bungees aren't more than $20, but still. Um, and then yeah, they're oh, that's their never been a hard mouse. Use a hard mouse pad, but definitely their cloth pad. Definitely the extra. I might go the huge route to try and cover my desk, but oh, so do they not have a blue version of the mouse pad? I thought there was a blue version. They're just referencing the our original black. I thought there was a blue version of it. Ooh, I like that stealth though. Gotta represent, but I don't like that stealth. But I'll eventually, be picking up mouse skates and everything. All that. So, if you did, I know a couple people had come through. There was a couple of people that were chatting yesterday. If you did, I appreciate it. I'll definitely be doing more things like this in the future. I'm gonna move over to